Welcome everybody to this meeting, 9 September 23rd at 5:01, calling this meeting to order. And a little bit of housekeeping. On March 29, 2023, Governor Healy signed into law a supplemental budget bill which, among other things, extends the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. Specifically, this further extension allows public bodies to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location, and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. The language does not make any substantive changes to the open meeting law other than extending the expiration date of the temporary provisions regarding remote meetings from March 31st, 2023 to March 31st, 2025. And now, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of God.
Thank you so much. So, at this point, I will need to ask, do we have our members from DESI on the call? Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. It has come to our attention that uh, Commissioner Johnston and the team are actually at another meeting at this time, so they won't be able to join us today. But we'll continue and give an update for the public on what we have been doing so far. So our first item on the agenda is updates on the capacity building plan. So as part of the plan that was presented last time that has been approved, the school committee has started their training dates and will start today, actually, after this, with our budget training. And then we will have our superintendent evaluation on October 15th. We also had, which I don't have all of the information yet, but the meeting for the Finance and Operations Committee meeting that was planned to happen this month happened. So hopefully soon we can have that update soon. But we haven't met as a whole committee yet, so we don't have that yet. But it's happened, and one of the things that it included was the discussions about budget as well. Next up, we have the recruiting for the community advisory team. That announcement has been going out and is available in both English and Spanish. And one of the things that we were talking about when that is still not resolved about the community advisory team is how we're going to go about it. If we are going to have a consultant start from the beginning, or if how are we going to use the consultant, and so on and so forth. So I'll open that discussion to the subcommittee. What do you all think?
Yep. So, sorry, I'm trying to register into the. So yeah, one of having a conversation with the DESI team as a follow up from previous conversations we had at this meeting. You know, here we are now, right? We're going to be forming this advisory team. Communications out there, people are applying as we speak. Um, who's going to help facilitate and it's not just all aspects of it, but I think specifically focused at the evaluation and what to do with the superintendent conversations. A neutral party, I think there was, we want to be able to be um, uh, not as as transparent, as neutral as possible. Do we have someone who's opposed to having Anthony and his team, facilitate this, considering that it's about him and he works for the state? In the eyes of some people, can that lead to, the optics of, potential bias and whatnot? So we want to de-escalate that as much as possible. So there has been some conversation as to whether or not do folks think it's a good idea that we engage an external consultant that's neutral to come in and just kind of help, facilitate those components of the conversations. Timing is of an essence. So we talked about like how long will it take to get price quotes, go through procurement. We talked about institutions that exist in our region that are exempt from procurement that can potentially do the work. But I didn't want to engage until we had a discussion and some sort of consensus and direction on what people want to do, what direction we should go. Um, as far as funding is concerned, there is funding in the budget. It sounds like to me, Soto is fine with moving stuff around and supporting what we need so that we can, make sure the process is done the way that we want it done. So
So I think it's probably, I think you're going to need two separate consultants, and I don't know if one person can solve it. So, reminder, since this committee is being made up of a appointment of us as a policy-making body, like, these people who are on this also need to be trained on, like, open meeting law stuff and all that, too, because all these meetings have to be posted meetings. They all fall under the confines of the open meeting law. So I think someone needs to calibrate people first, like, what it means to be on a public body, because that's what it is now. Like, it is a public body once it's formed. And then there needs to be someone to facilitate what those conversations are like. And I'm not sure you're going to find the same one person to do both, or the same person that might have the skills to do both. So that's where I think there needs to be some sort of calibrate, and we can use the same consultants we're using to at least calibrate on the initial, like, stuff. Like, this is the open meeting law. This is, like, they need to know, like, whoever's going to be chairing it, like, who's going to post their meetings for that, like, what support they're going to get in those things of the housekeeping of it. And then I think it's also, like, then their work forward. And I guess what I'm more curious about, because I know that the committee kind of formed this out in June, but, like, so what is that meeting on October 15th going to look like? Because I think I saw in the press announcement that the members will be selected then. Is that correct?
so
I guess I'm curious, like, is the school committee
Yep,
interviewing
yep,
people to be on?
yep.
Like, are we meeting as a committee and making recommendations?
Yep.
Like, what's that process?
I heard two questions. The first part, there are organizations that can facilitate and do depending on what their capacity is. But certainly we can, if we're reviewing proposals and the concern that you brought up, it can't be met, then yeah, like we should split the two as long as we're achieving the goal, whether if it's one group or two groups or whatever the case. I think we have the flexibility to do it. However, as long as we're hitting the targets that you're mentioning, that meetings are posted, minutes are being taken, and then this other work too. So there's a little bit of flexibility to make sure that we do that. The other question it'll be at the school board meeting. So ideally, what we were thinking was, and assuming we don't get 1,000 names, I guess if we do, we should be rethinking how we want to do this. But yeah, I was gonna ideally bring the names at our next school board meeting, and at that meeting, similar to how we put together. Remember when we were on the school board a while back, we put together a committee for what was it?
Superintendent
The
search?
superintendent search. I mean, because like I want the body to own it, like we put it together, opposed to just giving it to one person or a group. You know what I mean? So I couldn't think of any other way. If there's better suggestions, yeah, let's talk about it. But the initial thought process was a week in advance, forward the applicants' names along with whatever they submitted because they're submitting an online form.
Yep.
That we forward that data to the whole body, and then at our school board meeting, we will talk about it and discuss and vote. If there are people here that we might want to ask questions further, you know, certainly that can happen that day. But if there's an alternative way that we can better handle this, let's let's explore it.
Have we gotten many applicants yet?
Look it up because I think we have. That I gotta find out. It's not in my drive though, cause I didn't create it. Oh, maybe I do. Okay, I'll look it up, but you guys can keep.
So I guess like then maybe we should just format wise for that meeting is the thought that we are going to interview and ask questions of applicant client of why they want to be part of this group, or I'm just trying to think out time so we're prepared for the 15th. We don't. That's our next meeting, right? So is it?
Oh, 3 applicants so far.
Then another thing that I think that we're going to have to think about is how are people knowing that we're looking for applicants?
Yeah. So, and really, I was waiting for after our meeting today, but we did shared it, right? We put it on our website. We did a press release. We put it on social media. In the release, it identifies the candidates we're looking for. So like X amount of teachers, X amount of face team members, X amount of parents, X amount of and so we are gonna need help from the district, making sure that that's out there to the team. Um, uh, Sharing it with the principals sharing it with the teachers, and then also the FACE team, the Family Access Engagement Coordinated team, that team's getting it so that people right now are talking about who's going to, and then also those that are closest to our parents are people in the district. So we are going to have to lean a little bit on the administration to help us get the word out for sure.
And then, I mean, I guess we only have one meeting, so it's not like we can make recommendations to act on. This.
Oh,
So like, well, no, we can vote here to make recommendations on the process, but that won't even get voted on at a school committee meeting until the night of. So,
recommend. What do you mean?
if we say an outline of what it's going to look like each person will come in, it will be invited in to meet with the school committee to express why they want to be on it, and that we're going to do these things. None of that's even going to be codified by the school committee until the night of.
Right, because
No, we don't have to. So we gotta. Well, what are your like? What do you want to recommend? What change? Because we don't have to seek. I mean, we can if you want to, right? And that just adds more time. We don't have to seek an approval of the process. We just got to get the candidates in front of them.
No, but what I'm saying is that I don't want to extend time, but I also want people to be aware of what the expectations are, both the school committee members and the members of the community that are going to be coming in. Like, it's more.
It's all laid out. I mean,
before the meeting on the 15th. Right now, there's no process on how to select
okay.
these people.
Right.
That what I'm saying
Yeah.
is what process
So-
is the Hoyoke School Committee going to use to select members of the community advisory? Like, are we going to, let's just say we have 3 members now. Let's say we get 10 people by the 15th. Well,
Mhm.
we know that's not enough. So are we going to appoint people into those spots then, and then look for more to fill the up? Like, I'm just saying, like, we have this meeting, and then we're selecting. There's no meeting in between right now and the 15th. So I'm just,
Yeah, I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to over complicate it. I think it, it's gonna be a case by case scenario. So once we've a certain amount of people have signed up, we go to this meeting. We present the names. We vote on the names accordingly. Whatever system or process you want to follow, it's not. It's and we can talk about it tonight with the school board, but there's no set. The goal is to get names in front of them to vote on. However, we get them, whatever process we follow. I don't. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't. We don't need a vote of the school board for the. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I'm just, that's fine. I mean, if it doesn't bother me, I'm just trying to I'm asking like what the expectations are that evening.
Right now, the only expectation is names are going to be shared, and we're going to vote on names. And we want, as outlined in the membership that we're looking for, 10 to 14 representative families and students, 10 to 14 reps, Holyoke community. And, it's all broken down in what we're looking for. And ideally, we want to bring these names in front of the group,
Okay.
and then we vote on them.
So do we want them coming?
Um, that's we would love for them to come. There's no requirement that they have to be here. But obviously, as we get closer, we'll let them know and encourage them to come if they're able.
And do we want to ask them questions? Because I ask this because, like, you brought up the last time we did the superintendent search, there were no questions asked. It was written resumes only, and that's where no one was interviewed. So
Can we ask the school board tonight? This is on the agenda, right?
No.
That's not on the agenda?
No,
There's nothing at all that we can.
because it's training.
Okay.
Quick, like 10-minute meeting, and then it's training.
Okay. So to your question, there's nothing that says that we can't ask questions. But if there's a lot of people,
Right.
and so it doesn't get out of control, you're saying maybe we should just make the rule and say, no questions. These are the candidates. We're not asking anybody questions. And
I
I'm
guess I
saying
feel the opposite. That if there's
we
few
should.
candidates,
Right.
then we probably don't need to ask questions. They're dedicated. They want to be here.
But
If
that's what I
there's a
mean.
million
It's
candidates,
case by case
we
scenario. It's like I think we'll kind of know what we want. You know what I mean? When the moment comes, if what's appropriate, if we should be asking questions, if we shouldn't be asking questions.
Okay,
There's
maybe
nothing
take a
that
step
there's
back
nothing
then.
that limits what
So we
we
don't get
can and
caught up
can't
in
do.
here. I'm good with us seeking some sort of other facilitator. Should we make a recommendation on that we're recommending that we seek out a facilitator for the community advisory? Is that something you were looking for tonight?
Yes.
Then I will make. I'll wait to make the motion.
Yes.
She comes back.
Yes.
Now, the next thing, when we're talking about capacity, like with this committee, so we know we're going to need some sort of facilitator, and that can be any type of. I talked about something I need, but we know we need someone to meet certain of the other resources that we're going to need that we're going to be asking of the district, just so we're open. Is we'll probably need someone for translation, right? Like that's
Yes.
because we ask on their of comfort levels of translation. Right, but we can give everything to the district and say like,
Right.
here are need.
These
This is
are
what's
the
gonna
things we
cost.
need.
This is all cost. We're going to need someone like our current school committee administrative assistant wouldn't be able to serve those meetings.
Right.
We're going to need someone to do their minutes and an additional person to do those because she's capped at 20 hours, and that's filled with school. We're going to need someone to be a recording secretary for them. Right? Is the intent to be on TV?
That I don't.
We don't it that there again. There's nothing that's written anywhere that says yes, we want TV. Certainly, there we can set it up. We have Holyoke Media. We have other ways to record meetings, but that's something that
But do we want that access? Like, if we're like, do we want access?
the more
to,
access, the
okay.
better.
So we want it
Uh,
on TV then, right? I mean, we're gonna have to present to the district and to
Right.
the state like, this is all gonna be a cost for this. This is what, like, we can't even get our subcommittee meeting on Holyoke Media. Like, we're
Right.
told no to that. So these are all things that like we need to be prepared for and ask for of the district. That is a cost. So if it's that, like,
Yeah, no. I mean, it can. I mean, if they're doing it here, but there's other spaces in the city that this group can meet that's not here required. Here, there's always a cost because there's all this technicality of how to control the system. But there's other ways to get um
I mean, we were told for our subcommittee meetings at 57 Suffolk Street, we can't live stream because there's a
oh,
cost.
live streaming. I was thinking more of Zoom access.
Don't do that either.
We can though.
Wait.
Zoom access,
I feel like
live Zoom access of
Irene was
meetings.
told she can't do any Zoom subcommittee meetings because of cost.
Oh.
Well,
I
here,
haven't been
here.
told
I
that.
don't know. We can have public meetings at Holyoke
We-
Media. We can set it up at the Annex building.
But it's something we want. We want
Yes.
them to be-
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. The streaming thing, though, you do have a point on that one. There's only two places in town that does that: City Hall Chambers and here. So
And Holyoke
that
Commons,
might be a little
right?
bit more complicated. So we'd have to add that if we're if they're gonna
So
have their
definitely
meetings
Zoom.
in here.
Some sort
Yeah.
of Zoom
Yeah.
access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to recognize Miss Tansley Williams, who's here with us.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Would there be a conflict of interest for Liz to take the notes that night?
Say that again.
What word would I use?
For Liz. Liz, you want to take the notes?
Yeah, would probably be a conflict of interest, but I just wondered.
Doesn't work for us anymore.
Oh boy,
Unless MASC wants to be the hired consultant,
not
that's-
a bad idea, but
that's something we can talk about later if
I
you
don't
want.
know if that's
oh,
That would be a conflict of interest.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rosalie.
Thank you.
We all miss Liz.
So those are just things like when we're talking about access, like
Yes.
because we want them to be successful on their first meeting.
Yes. And I was looking on the local control stakeholder engagement plan, which is what it was called before it was the community advisory board. And then it said that the meetings would be in person, but that they would be streamed. Yeah.
Yep. So we want to stream online, and we want to make sure there's Zoom access. So we have to make sure in our cost it includes access to this space. Okay. Good. Good.
Okay, so I think we can go back
Okay,
to
so I'll
making
make
the
a
motion.
Yep. I'm gonna make. I don't even know what to do. Pursue a facilitator. I'm gonna make a motion that the district or the school committee pursue a. Irene. I'm making a motion that the school committee pursue a professional facilitator for the local control subcommittee.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So I think Anthony is listening, and we could talk about it later. But we want to make sure we push this out to the district employees and parents, so that folks receive this communication and can make a decision as to whether or not they want to submit an application to serve on this advisory committee. And also, we want to make sure that as we go forward with searching for a consultant to help facilitate all means of communication, translation, access to streaming, public access channels, Zoom, all of that's encumbered into that scope.
Translation.
Yes,
Yep,
translation.
said
I don't know.
translation.
No.
Translation.
Sorry.
You got it. Was there anything? Was it? I think that was
But
all
like
of it.
that also,
But-
it's more translation than just like what we provide on Zoom, because there could be members of the committee
Yep.
that need translation
Correct.
sitting in a room.
Yes.
That's the
The as far as process is concerned, though, how do you do we want to wait and see how many we get and
On what?
all of them?
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
I'm really
Really? Some,
I'm keep reading this right, reading the makeup. So sorry, I'm
yeah, I'm looking at the same thing
Yeah.
too. So as far as I mean, I was just thinking, get the names, bring the name, school board meeting, we vote. If I wouldn't want to limit people from asking a question they want to ask a question. If we certainly want to try to get through that and not take too long, we can have no questions being asked. But I don't know. How do we want to? Do we have?
I mean, we
Does this
could-
group have one more meeting before then?
No.
Not even this group, huh?
No.
Okay.
I don't
Um,
Won't have another one.
we can
until-
extend it.
until
We can, instead of September 15, I said, or September 15 school board meeting,
October. 15th.
October 15, we can wait till the following,
I mean,
and that way it gives us time to talk to the school board and. We can wait.
Might want to see what we got.
Yeah, let's wait and
Right.
see what we get. Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
I mean, I wouldn't want to extend it and have a bunch of people.
Right.
I also think we should honor the people. I think no matter what, we should honor the people that apply.
Right.
And then if they fill some of the spaces, then those spaces are full. Then we're only looking for other
people,
spaces. Then it might
Exactly.
become. Then it could be some different targeted recruitment if we're only looking for like an
Right.
early education person. Like, so it might just be.
Spot on.
I agree.
A lot of. How many? How many people? What's
Well,
the
so
total?
that's with the form. Like, I know that your staff is collecting it, Mayor. Are they going to sort out and do the pre-work to sort people into those buckets for us?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, 'cause that would be easier for us. That's why we look through all of them.
Just with like teachers, one at each. Like, we don't necessarily ask levels in the form.
Yeah, we can do that because in the form, let me pull up the form.
But we don't ask in the form, like, are you a principal, a dean, an AP? We don't ask if you are at the
Yeah.
English language department.
Oh, it doesn't ask specifically. It just says if you're a teacher, a school teacher, student, parent.
We're gonna need all that data for that meeting on the
Yeah.
15th.
Title, if teacher, grade, content, specialty, and
you-
organization.
So
That
that
can-
says teacher grade content area.
Yeah, title, if you're a teacher, grade, content, but yeah,
There might just be more. I mean, they may have to do some research if
Right.
someone doesn't answer all of that.
Right.
It says the associated schools.
Yeah.
Oh, and then open-ended question: why do you want to serve?
Right.
Which language will you use to participate in the meeting? And I think that the intent there is to make sure we have explain
Translation
what
services.
support, if any, if you need in order to participate in the meetings. For example, a parent may need access to HPS computer, teacher. So there is any potential barrier that might exist that won't allow someone to engage, try to meet. Whether or not you're a Holyoke resident, are you an HPS staff member? If you're a Holyoke as a resident, which ward do you live in? Asks.
Oh, and
Demo-
are we willing to provide technology and coverage?
That might be a cost too, right?
That will definitely be a cost.
Hold on. What was the question on the thing again? It said access to technology, right? Associated schools. Serve for language. Explain what support, if any, you need in order to participate in the meetings. For example, a parent might need access to a Holyoke Public School computer, or a teacher may need someone to cover their post-school duty. I think
And this is, so we modeled this after the district's community engagement plan. So this is something that's the way that they do their
Yep.
community engagements.
Yeah, I mean, it's already being done, so.
Right.
so.
Yep.
We might have. I can't imagine like 100, 10, 20 people are going to need access. But if one or two folks need
You know,
access
but it's
to a
already being
laptop-
done. So
Right,
it's already-
exactly,
If we're
yeah.
modeling it off
Okay.
the district
Yes,
method, then not
Yeah.
a problem.
is what
But do
Anthony
you guys
calls the
feel good with this
playbook.
form? This is the form that's out there. Is there anything you want changed or edited or added that might be missing?
About the form? No.
All right.
We already voted on that, so I don't want to change it now.
All right.
And like the other thing, when you were taking notes about what else, like they need someone to note for their.
Yes.
Well, yeah. If not themselves, I mean the consultant. Make sure that they're collecting, writing
Right.
the notes accordingly.
But like,
Making
there's
sure the
a
meeting's
point
posted.
person to make sure it's posted, like whoever's gonna be facilitating all of that.
Yeah.
This can be a pretty big group. This space here might not be able to accommodate. Because it
A lot
says,
of people.
yeah, it says families and students, 10 to 14 representatives.
And it's like 28, right?
Holyoke community, 10 representatives. HPS staff, 8 representatives. There is flexibility to add several other people depending on applicant interest.
I mean, it's a 28.
And
person.
everything that the mayor is reading right now is posted on the city website.
Oh, maybe they can fit in here.
I mean, there's plenty of space. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. And again, like, I mean, they won't have that access to public access channel, but Holyoke Media is a great space to accommodate a lot of needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll wait to see how many applicants we get, and then contingent on that, we'll determine like, we'll I guess I'll call you guys and just solicit your feedback so that I can figure out how to if you want to extend it or just, whatever the case, I'll be consulting with you or the chair.
Sounds good.
I mean, this committee, I mean, you have the ability to meet on Zoom.
Yes.
We
could.
This subcommittee could convene a meeting
Yes.
the week of the 8th.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find it, and
And
we
then
can-
decide
and
where
we
we're
can
going.
do it. We could be flexible at any time during the day to meet
Yeah, let's do that.
our schedule. Like working with the chair, it
Yeah.
might be
Yeah, let's do that because I don't want to.
interest to, and then at least we can make a recommendation, and the school committee theoretically could accept our recommendation right at the beginning of the meeting. So we can set a proposed process, right?
Yeah. Let's do that because I'd rather make the decision together.
We could probably make it
Yes.
in 10 minutes. Like it doesn't need to be
It's extensive. But yeah,
So
that
when
would make sense.
sometime the week of the 7th, and whatever
Right.
chair.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us.
Yeah,
we,
we
we
can
can we
coordinate.
can do the 7th, so I'm okay.
And then we just have to make sure that we have that agenda ready. Then that's going to be our item, right?
I cannot meet
Okay.
the 7th.
The 7th. Okay.
Like 5
That's
o'clock,
okay.
okay?
No, I couldn't. That's what I mean. I couldn't do 5 o'clock.
The 8th. 5.
Or 30 work.
Which day?
The 8th.
I could even,
4:30 I could do.
okay, I could do 4:30 on the 7th too if Mondays are easier.
Yep.
Whichever is easier for you. If it's at 4:30, I can make that.
Oh,
If we're doing it on Zoom, I can make that work either day.
yeah, 4:30 is good. It's fine with me on the 7th too.
You prefer chair.
Want to set up the link and all that. We
Yeah.
can-
I'll connect with our Secretary. Uh-huh. Do we need to discuss anything more about the community advisory team? If not, our next item is the approval of the 722 minutes.
I do have some amendments. I don't know how you want to handle this. If you want me to read off the changes and then take those
Yes.
changes.
Yes.
And I have them. So,
Thank you.
so just on, so first I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, and then
Second?
then I'll make a motion to amend. So at the top of page 1, Ms. LaFave should actually be listed also in attendance spot, not in the present, because she's no longer a member of the at that point. And then I should be listed in the present area. Also, just to go through, the term school committee and the term receiver should all be capitalized as proper noun. And I will also just say a blanket that every school committee member's name, whether it's a committee member or a subcommittee member or a person in attendance, should be spelled properly, because there's many misspellings of name throughout it, both my name and Mr. Wellahan's name. And I don't. So let's take that as the amendment, as the first amendment. I'm going to ask you how you want to handle the next one. So that's my motion.
Second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
So then I don't know how to handle on page 5. We need the information. Well, first of all, it says the minutes from 6:10 were not voted on for approval, but I thought they were. Anyone else?
That's fine.
Okay. So on page, I don't even know. I don't even know if we can amend this right now, because we're not going to know.
Right.
Made the motion or the second.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Fine. Zoom.
And same thing with the adjournment. There's no not listed second adjournment there. So I'll make a motion to allow the superintendent to update that section of the minutes so they can be submitted. That's
Second that motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Who wrote that?
and then we're just on the main.
Okay, so with that, we made it to the end of our agenda for today. Thank you, everybody. So,
Thank you.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Sheehan. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much, everybody. This meeting is adjourned at 5:46 p.m.